welcome back to this podcast.
Oh.
This fabulous, man, my head is full of like 17 things right now. This podcast. This one right here.
Yes, this one, not the other one.
Do you remember which one that is?
Not that other one.
This one. It's this one.
Uh-huh.
It's this one.
Yeah, it's this one right now.
Name this one with your mouth words.
I could, but are you trying to say you don't know it? Why don't you tell me the name of it, and I'll tell you if you're right.
It's the giant. No, it's the Nextlander. Beast, no. Okay, hang on. The Nextlander.
Never
podcast.
Beastcast Nextlander. Yep, you got it.
All right.
Okay, you're watchcasting this ramble on the Nextlander podcast.
I think we might do too many podcasts.
Nope, never enough.
I hate to bring this up now, but I'm wondering maybe.
There are definitely some weeks where it's like, well, we have 5 to 6 podcasts.
We'd love to hear from you. Do we do too many podcasts?
Never
No, because
enough.
the answer to that, if you put that to the people, they'll be like, well, what if you did 10 more podcasts?
I've been thinking for most of the existence of this company, we should probably run a survey at some point.
Yeah, we'll get a cool survey. You could win an iPad. It's fill out this. They still offer iPads for surveys, or people just companies don't care anymore. They just want you to do a survey no matter what you do. You buy something, and you'll get an email that's like, "Hey, you want to give us some feedback on how that purchase went?" It's like, I really don't. I really do not. Take me off your mailing list.
Once in a while, if the customer service experience is that exemplary, I will jump in there and be like, yes, this person was awesome.
Okay.
Because I could be wrong. Maybe some CS people can let us know. I think at least in some cases, that's not a just general, was this good? I think it ties back to the actual employee you spoke to.
Yes, it does.
Is that right? Okay.
Well, it depends on the company, but I've definitely been to like retail experiences where like, hey, if you fill out this very brief survey for me, that would be great. And like their employee number or name or something is on it. So.
Oh yeah, I've had that.
Man, when I spent 2 months trying to fix my broken prescription insurance last year and then got shunted to another company and the lady there fixed it for me in about 15 minutes.
Okay. That's...
Bet your ass I went out of my way to find how to give her amazing feedback.
Our customer service feedback surveys, the like customer service digital online version of tipping? Is it like...
No, you should still do the tipping part also, if you can.
Well, you can't tip.
You can't tip an online person. I know, I'm just saying.
Online person. Also, I think there was a story about this. Of course there was, because this is the type of thing you'll see in the mainstream media, because this floats around every 6 months, about those point of sale tipping things, and people just getting real upset about the... Somebody said they had a, would you like to tip 15% on a self-checkout counter?
What are you doing, man? Never start a conversation about tipping.
Well, tipping's great.
I know, but that's just it's a little bit of a forums inside joke. Let's say. I've just been on multiple forums where every time somebody brings up tipping, everybody's just like, what are you doing? That's like politics and religion.
Yeah.
It's like pressing the red button that says meltdown on it. Like that's just what you're asking for, like just a complete nightmare of a conversation.
I'm just looking for the clicks. I'm trying to gin up the clicks. Tips for clicks for tips.
Tip people, not computers. That's my stance.
I love it. Okay. I love it.
How do you tip computers?
Well, I mean, you was talking about the self-checkout. What's the self-checkout doing? That's just a damn computer.
That's it.
I was picturing you running around like tipping a bunch of tower cases over.
That's me.
More of a cow tipping kind of thing.
Okay.
Round up for cow tipping.
Hey, speaking of broken prescription stuff, if I can just rant here for a second.
Sure. The Rantalcast.
So I take ADHD meds. I've probably mentioned this on other things before. Specifically, I take Inserta, but there's a variety of ADHD meds out there. They broke ADHD medications in the world, especially in America, and I don't know what's going on. There was some talk about the Biden administration like trying to make it so that like federally you have to go see your psychiatrist or doctor every 30 days, but also apparently there's some kind of DEA inspired limitation on production that is going on right now. So like I had my prescription filled like 3 weeks ago, and they still haven't gotten it to me because it's been on back order.
Whoa.
Interesting.
And I just want to say for the record, for anyone out there listening, this is fucked, and I hate it, and I'm mad, and let's just say in the next 2 weeks or so, if my brain starts falling out of my skull, and it seems like I can't complete a sentence properly, it might be because I ran out of medication.
Okay. Good to know. We'll be on brain falling out of head watch.
I'm pretty good about hoarding the stuff when I can. I specifically do not take it on weekends, so I have like extra around, in case like I do have to go a little bit longer before filling my prescription. But it's one of those you can't get in more than 30 days dose. Like you cannot get additional beyond that at a time. And so at some point I'm going to run out. And boy, I sure would love it if that did not happen.
Never a dull moment with the old healthcare system around here.
Is that one you can get somewhere else? Like Canadian?
No, as far as I know, Canada is having the exact same problem we are as far as like getting stuff. So
not explicitly related, but a similar back order vitamin story. My kids like in Jersey, if you're in Jersey, this makes sense. But their fluoride supplement stuff, because there's no fluoride in the water here. Fluoride supplement stuff also back ordered in a weird way, where that prescription. So we were able to get it. Like there was a multivitamin they had, but
is it because too many kids were huffing fluoride?
That's probably what it was.
DEA's got to put a stop to that shit.
Maybe is it time for the old family swish and spit?
Get that fluoride swish and spit. Go.
Can you buy that?
I don't know. Probably.
Do they still do that in schools?
The problem with the
Did you guys even have that?
I feel like we had that when the dentist came in, like they would come in for a special thing, but not like an everyday thing.
Oh god, well not every day, but we had it. I don't know, a couple times a year, I guess, maybe.
So
they just handed out little cups of this mouthwash looking stuff in third grade.
Yeah,
it's like, all right, you gotta swish this for like, what is it? Let's say 90 seconds or whatever.
Yeah,
some real like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's like Nurse Ratched come in with your little cup.
Just fucking big enamel. Big brother in there saying government mandated teeth protection.
It doesn't even do anything, man. They're just taking your DNA off the cups.
That's
okay,
right.
That's how they put your DNA in on file.
It's my kids are getting just close enough, I think, where they've still got a couple more teeth coming in, but they'll be done with that because it's for the teeth under the gum line, the ones that the toothpaste and whatever thing you're, I don't know, it's fluoride in the water. Is that also on the forums? Don't talk about tipping, religion, politics, or fluoride.
Definitely, fluoride is definitely on there.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, it is now.
Pray to whatever it is you pray to that your children never have to acquire ADHD meds. It's a pain in the fucking ass.
Apparently, I mean, we've got a lot of family friends that their kids are on different sorts of meds. I should ask if there's.
I need my legalized meth, okay?
If they are also having supply issues. I have heard rumblings about different, not ADHD in particular, other kinds of supply stuff.
Yeah,
stuff going around. It's a bummer, man.
For my brain to stop working.
Do you and you said you can't buy more than 30 days in advance?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's legally you're not allowed to. It's a controlled substance, baby.
Huh.
Just had to get that off my chest somewhere.
Yeah. Like I said, a lot of stuff floating around out there. Not in the brainiverse. It's also like taxes are coming down. We got there's the business tax and personal taxes are coming. My NAS decides not to pick up my RAID control card, so that's turned off right now, and that's all I could think about is getting that thing just back up online.
Well, as we all know, that is the prevailing issue infecting the minds of Americans everywhere now, is your NAS not doing what it's supposed to.
Nasty.
Also, number 2 NAS, to be clear, right?
There's a backup. That's my main NAS that's down.
Oh, okay.
My backup
number
is number 1. My number 1 took a number 2.
Boom.
Yeah, thank you. Got my son's birthday coming up, so which means there's like 7 different parties. You got the family party, the friends party, the actual birthday day party, a bunch of that stuff. He wants a Sherlock Holmes trench coat, which
Oh
I
my.
don't, and a hat and a bubble pipe. Which
Hang on, what defines a Sherlock Holmes trench coat specifically?
I'm not 100% sure. I have to do some more research.
I mean, it's kind of like a.
Is it like a plaid thing?
It's like a. I feel like it's like a thick plaid, overcoat.
Like a tweedy, like a tweedish.
Oh, is he talking about like the Benedict Cumberbatch Sherlock Holmes specifically?
I hope not.
I'm not sure. I mean, listen, I like that show
because that character does appear to have a signature coat.
I think he's got he wants that hat. He wants that hat
and a pipe.
He wants that hat
and a bubble pipe.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't know. At some point, you run out of stuff to get kids. Like, sure, okay, fine.
What do you get the kid that has everything?
A Sherlock Holmes bubble pipe,
Mm-hmm.
so he can investigate crimes like fashion crimes of
is
walking around in a Sherlock Holmes hat.
Is your son getting into Murder Most Foul?
I don't even know where this came from.
I think he wants
honestly.
to stop Murder Most Foul, if anything.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, maybe. Sherlock Holmes kind of picked up where the murderer left off a lot of times. You kind of needed one to get the ball rolling, so maybe he stopped the next crime. We got him. We're getting for his birthday party because we're excellent parents. We're doing improv. An improv group is coming to teach an improv lesson to like 20 kids.
At the house?
Oh, we have a space that we're gonna do it. Never too young to take them to improv. Introduce the kids to improv. I can't wait to see.
Actually, that's not
goes.
true at all.
I
there
can't
is, in
wait.
fact, there is an age cutoff where you should not be introducing your children to improv.
The highest form of comedy. I can't wait to see how this all goes. It's gonna be fantastic.
That age, 35.
Next birthday, maybe everybody does a one-man show. Let's really just get the ball rolling here. Folks, you're listening to the Nextlander podcast. In case you missed it at the top here, we're going to talk about a bunch of games, including WWE 2K23, the Dark Pictures Switchback VR, Life of Delta, Spin Rhythm XD, maybe a little Resident Evil 4. Anything else you guys want to get to before we jump into the games?
No, I've aired my grievances.
Great. Yes, I'm going to try and put all of that stuff aside now as we get deep into the video games here, starting with WWE 2K23. Now, I was going to go to
King. They made another one of these.
I was going to go to Alex. Alex, I was going to go to you and say, tell me about this wrestling game, but maybe I should go to Brad Shoemaker, aspiring
New
wrestling expert.
No, not yet. Not
yet.
When I finish that documentary series, then I'll get back to you.
So how many episodes in are you at this point?
Just the first one.
Okay.
So far.
The first one, I think, is actually the worst one.
Really?
So you've been watching Tales from the Territories on a friend's Plex server, and
yes.
I think that some of the ones that come after that first one are much more interesting.
Oh, well, I thought the first one was quite good. So that's good to hear. Now I know, as I said right before we started this, now I know who Jerry the King Lawler is.
Yeah, but you don't know who Jerry the King Lawler is the problem.
Does anybody know who Jerry the King Lawler is?
Well, so that show spun off of a thing that Vice was doing beforehand called Dark Side of the Ring, which was not specific to the territories. It was kind of all things wrestling, and that thing was salacious. And so much so that I think at some point WWE was like threatening to sue them over certain episodes. But yeah.
So they, I see. So then they went back to an era where all the organizations are defunct and they can't be sued.
But they are also doing a fourth season of Dark Side of the Ring at some point. So possibly maybe because Vince McMahon is back. I don't know. But yeah, Brad, you're now a wrestling expert. Congratulations. Are you interested in this stuff, or was this just like a weird curiosity?
I remain uninterested in watching actual wrestling. I just find the behind the scenes fascinating.
And that's the thing, is that a lot of what makes wrestling appealing is the insane behind-the-scenes stuff, so that does make sense.
Sure. Maybe we'll get into it more when I've seen more of it, but just like, dude, the realities of that life back then, and even the sports and the being a fan of it, and the traveling roadshow quality to it. I mean, I know it still travels around now, but like, they were hitting the same, 5 cities every week, it sounds like, at least in that territory.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Area. It was just like, hey, if you lived in, I can't remember what the other cities were they were doing, but like, if you lived in one of those cities, just like every week you would go back to that same auditorium and see the same wrestlers coming through And it was like a small regional thing, and like
Damn
also there was
carnies.
a shocking amount of blood.
Okay, so you know how like they had to unite the warring kingdoms in China, and eventually that was kind of how it all came. Okay, so that's kind of what Vince McMahon is like, the totalitarian government that wanted to unite all the warring factions, but he didn't so much
warlord.
Well, he didn't so much unite the factions as steal all the other factions' best talent.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Warriors.
Man. It's
They're ultimate warriors.
There is a certain romanticizing in this of like how gritty and grassroots and raw all that stuff was.
Raw
Is war. Raw is warrior. There we go.
I mean,
All right, we tied it all together.
I don't know how I don't know how sincere they are when they say like, hey, we were doing it for real back then. It wasn't like we were really getting hurt, but again, there is quite a bit of blood in that thing.
Yeah, I mean, without getting off in too much of a side tangent here, I will say that, like, in the older days, like, especially, like, the 70s and 80s, like, yes, it was all still worked. It was all still, choreographed, and matches were planned and all that kind of stuff. But there was definitely a real mentality of, well, I'm just going to beat the living shit out of you as much as I can without actually super injuring you.
Yeah. I didn't mean like the plotting of the outcomes as much, but more just like kind of how they were taking the hits.
Yeah.
It seems like they were leaning into it a lot harder.
And the Japanese style, that especially developed in the 90s, like, is super rooted in, like, working as snug as humanly possible. And also dropping people on their heads.
Okay. Well, the next episode is the Andy Kaufman episode. So.
Oh, that's a great one.
So what's the name of the one you're watching, Brad?
Tales from the Territories.
And the other one was called Dark Side of the Ring?
Yeah, it's the same production company that does both.
Is there a pun I'm missing with Dark Side of the Ring?
No, I don't think. I know it literally is just, no, these are all the most fucked up stories from wrestling. That's kind of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but we're not here to talk just about the general wrestling out there. We're here to talk about the state of the WWE video game in 2023.
We're here to talk about the wrestling I watched the least. Which is WWE wrestling.
So I guess there is a bit of a run up to this because they took off last year?
No, last year was when they came back.
When they came back.
2K22 came out in March last year after being delayed. Significantly. And there was a significant gap between the ones prior to that. But so last year was their return. This is them following up on that.
And so you've tried some of this WWE 2K23?
Yeah, I've thrown some hours into it. So my feeling on last year's game was they were starting to tie up some of the things in that game that felt very loose and bad.
Okay.
But had not gotten all the way there yet. I still don't think they've gotten all the way there yet, but this feels like the most playable version of that game that I've played in, I'm going to say, the last several years.
Okay, that's a good thing.
It is a good thing. It's still glitchy in places. It still doesn't have the best gameplay flow of all wrestling games, but it feels like they have gotten back to the root of sort of what made those 2K games fun in like the last generation, at least as far as like the pace of the gameplay and how it all fits together.
I don't have too much to ask here because I don't really know what makes a good wrestling game from a bad wrestling game, aside from not a lot of bugs in them, and I know some of them have had some bugs. But what's the state of the pedigree of development on these games?
So it's all in-house at 2K now. Since Ukes moved off, and now they are doing the AEW game, which will come out in about 13 years. I have no idea when the hell that game is going to come out. They've been saying coming soon for what feels like the last 4 years now. So I don't know.
Also, given the state of past wrestling games, do people have high hopes for it? It's like, I mean, Ukes was involved for all those years that people thought the games were not good, right?
Yeah, I don't know. So there's been some trepidation around that, though. I will say my feeling is Ukes deserved a chance to do something free of all the cruft that had built up around the game they had been developing for literal decades. Mm-hmm. So I'd like to see what they can do kind of free of those restrictions and able to kind of do their own thing. And they are striving for something with that game that is a little closer to the style of gameplay of those N64 wrestlers.
So this is developed in-house, as was the last one?
Yeah, the last two have been done in-house at Visual Concepts exclusively. Whereas before, they were overseeing production, and they were doing a lot of like the art and like character scanning stuff because they have all that, you know, in-house camera technology for NBA.
Okay.
But they were like a lot of the gameplay development was still being done by Yuke's.
Gotcha. Okay. And so you feel like what I'm getting from you is maybe they're finding their footing here with WWE 2K23 more so than the last one.
The problem I've always had with the 2K era of these, especially in recent years, is that it has always felt like 2K is doing this game because they have to, not because they think wrestling games are fun.
Is that opposed to like the THQ era?
I mean, the THQ era definitely got to that point as well, though it took years to eventually end up there, whereas 2K seemed to kind of embrace the paycheck nature of this whole thing pretty early on. But I feel like this year's game, it's maybe been trending in this direction. It feels like they had, like you said, they found their footing a little bit. Like the overall package feels like it's a little bit more together than it has been recently. And I think, you know, the other thing that makes a wrestling game, fun is how much bullshit did they jam into this? And by bullshit, I mean like how many features, how many modes, like how many different ways can you play with your dumb wrestling action figures? And I think they have a good collection here. Like they're kind of just building on the same modes they had last year, but I think they're doing a slightly better job this year. The showcase mode is never my favorite thing. That is the one where they kind of take you on some sort of like magical mystery tour of some historical aspect of WWE. This year, it's about John Cena, which is the least interesting thing in the world to me. But I will say there is a fun twist on it, which it seems to be that in just about all the showcase matches, you are playing as someone that is beating John Cena.
Interesting.
Huh.
It is like a weird collection of his biggest losses, which I think is kind of funny.
Was he ever a heel?
Early on, when he was the doctor of thugonomics,
what?
in his hip-hop phase.
Uh-huh.
He was kind of more of a shitheel then, but once he kind of moved into being the face version of that character and then started moving into like, I'm John Cena and I love the military, he kind of stopped ever being a heel. Even when people were booing him, he never played it like a heel.
I'll tell you this. I don't really know the doctor of thugonomics. I don't really know.
You remember him in the big jorts with the lock around his neck and shit.
I don't remember the lock. I remember the jorts, and I obviously know that you can't see what I'm doing right now, or don't see me.
Yeah, that's it.
You can't see this?
Yes, that famous phrase of John Cena, you can't see what I'm doing right now.
But I will say I have seen, whether I'm supposed to have seen or there's a great PR campaign, he seems to do a lot with kids and be pretty. Yeah.
No, he's like Russell Wilson. Like he is a Make-A-Wish machine, you know, and how much of that you want to tie to personal branding versus his own personal desires, I don't know. I think John Cena is a relatively genuine person, if slightly vapid, as a character and as a media personality.
So I was gonna say my John Cena kind of there are probably three buckets. Very limited on the wrestling side. Yes, there's jorts and the hand waving. You can't see me. You can't see me. Is that what it is?
You can't see me.
You can't see me. There is the charity stuff, which I've somehow watched a bunch of videos. I don't know why, but I think maybe Dan was like, "You should check out his charity work." And I watched a bunch of videos. Like these seem genuinely pretty good.
Yeah.
And then like he'd bust through a wall and a bunch of kids would explode screaming and be like, "That's pretty good." And then probably the most thing, I don't know why this one has burned into my mind, is him speaking in, I don't know if it's Mandarin or Cantonese, apologizing to China for something he said.
Yes.
Which is like stone-faced, very serious, was like, this is such a weird thing.
Yeah, when WWE was trying to make some inroads into China, they used him very much as like an ambassador for that, and his whole thing is always being the brand ambassador for that company, so he learned Mandarin, which, hey, good on him. That's not an easy language to learn. But so yeah, the showcase mode is about that. I don't love these modes because they kind of feel like homework you are doing, mostly just to try and unlock stuff in that game. But if you want to play through a bunch of his matches where John Cena gets his ass beat, that's a thing you can do. There is a 2K career mode style thing where you create a character and then you go through a whole narrative of you coming up in WWE, and they actually have a split narrative this time. There's like two different stories. We can pick one at the beginning and decide which way you want to go with it. And then there's a lot of stuff that, there's like branching paths, and like there's a whole hub area where you're like talking to wrestlers backstage and stuff. I haven't gotten too deep into that yet, though I will say the setup for the one I'm playing is pretty funny. You play as a character who is like a blue chipper, like a can't-miss prospect, and then they take you backstage and are like, okay, cool, we're giving you this gimmick that you hate, and you're like, well, what if I was just myself? And then Shawn Michaels is like, we have a pretty good track record of rebranding people and it working out for them, which feels like an in-joke more than anything else. They also make an in-joke about don't sneeze around the boss, which I'm just going to say it right now. The weird quirks about Vince McMahon are no longer funny.
Sure. Yes.
I'm past the point of thinking, oh, it's funny that nobody can sneeze around him. He's a tyrant and a sexual abuser. Let's stop fucking lionizing this guy, please.
I was gonna ask you, like, what is the time frame here with Vince McMahon? Like, do they acknowledge that he is no longer with the company?
But he is with the company again.
But like at the time of development,
he's probably in the game.
Wasn't. He's in the game. Okay.
His character model is playable in the game, and he is higher rated than some of the actual fucking wrestlers in this game.
Imagine that.
What a weird. I mean, at least one thing you guys can both agree on is like it's probably always been a weird industry.
Oh, it's always been a nightmare to varying degrees, and Vince McMahon is responsible for at least 70% of those nightmares. But nonetheless, it's very jarring to hear people just talk about him in friendly terms. Also, John Cena was just on record like saying, you know, everyone makes mistakes. I love Vince McMahon. And it's like, fucking dude, read the room, man. Come on. Come on.
Did he say it in Mandarin or English?
No, I think he said it in English.
Okay. All right. I should mention.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I should mention before people comment, I think the thing that John Cena, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, the one I remember is him apologizing because something he said about, or WWE said about Taiwan or something.
I think it was something he said offhandedly about Taiwan,
Yeah, which is just like, fucking A.
Yeah.
Anyway, please continue.
Beyond that, they've got the universe mode. They have their GM mode where you're running a brand and you can book shows. They also added the War Games match.
Whoa, what is that?
War Games is one of the dumbest matches in wrestling history, and I mean that affectionately. It is 2 rings surrounded by a cage. It is teams of either 3 or 4. 2 wrestlers start out in the ring, and then the team that has the advantage gets to add a wrestler every few minutes, and then the other team gets to add one of their wrestlers every few minutes until all the wrestlers are in the ring, and then the match actually starts, and whoever gets the pinfall or victory or whatever at that point wins.
How do you get advantage?
Usually there's some kind of stipulation that determines it beforehand.
Okay. 2 rings?
2 rings.
They surround 2 rings with a cage?
Yes.
Okay. Do they jump? Are there ropes between the rings, or is there any space?
Yeah, the ropes are all set up the way they normally are.
So are they?
There's like a weird gap between them where you're walking between the 2 rings.
Oh, are they not close enough? You can just leap from the top rope into the other ring.
Right?
You could, but the thing is, there's like this little narrow walkway where there's 2 ropes, basically, one for each ring. That's like where it's smushed together. So it's kind of awkward, but kind of amazing.
Okay. Is there any like game between the 2? Like, how do you get eliminated?
By losing.
Like pin or thrown out?
Pin, submission. Sometimes I think cage escape is an option. But again, you can't do any of this until everyone is in the ring. Okay.
And how many wrestlers are we talking about at the start here?
It starts with 2. One from each team.
Like once the match starts, are we talking like 30? Are we
No. It's like it depends on how many teams you have involved, but generally it's usually teams of 3 or 4.
Okay. This isn't like full on Royal Rumble.
No.
30 people in a ring.
No.
Okay. Great. What's it called again? War Games?
War Games.
Great.
It's
Fantastic.
an old WCW thing that they started resurrecting in the NXT brand a few years ago, and now they're just doing it regularly.
Is there the movie maker mode?
No, because they still won't put that shit back in, and it bums me out, man. Like, their whole thing is like, no, we're telling the story through the My Rise mode or whatever, and it's like, nah, man, I want ghost problems.
Yeah, that's not... The problem is that's not the story anybody wants to hear.
I can't make my own dumbass machinima with that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I need to be able to tell my stupid-ass stories.
So it sounds like forward progress here on the WWE 2K video game front, at least.
Almost an acceptable product.
I mean, right now it feels acceptable. I'm just waiting for someone to dig in and be like, okay, here's all the things that are actually broken, because that's what happened to me with Madden. I was like, oh yeah, the first few days I was playing, no problems, and then within a week it's like, oh yeah, no, literally every mode is breaking on me now. So there's always a chance with this that's where this will go. So I'd say, keep an eye out, see what people have to say about it. My only real regret with this game is that they are starting to find their footing and make these games better at a time when I have never been less invested in the television product. I could not possibly care less about what is going on in WWE these days. And I'm only even vaguely aware of what's happening in the main event scene. I have no idea who a lot of these undercard wrestlers even are on this roster, and it's a weird position for me, the guy who consumes too much wrestling, to be in.
Who are the top 5, would you say, that you're aware of as far as who they're pushing as the big stars these days?
Roman Reigns has been champion for what feels like a decade now.
Sure.
The Usos, who are related to him, are very high up in his stable. Cody Rhodes is back in WWE, and he's kind of been pushed as one of the main hero characters. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are pretty big. There's a handful of other people, some of which you may have heard of. Brock Lesnar is still around doing dumb shit every once in a while, though he may leave at some point. Who knows?
Is Roman Reigns different than Razor Ramon?
By leaps and bounds, yes.
Okay.
Several generations, in fact, yes.
All right. Sometimes they change names.
There's Roman Reigns and there's Razor Ramon. They are not even the same name.
Oh, okay. It's not Ramon Reigns.
Roman.
Okay.
Ramon?
Okay.
Roman.
You are absolutely right on calling me out of that, but give me the percentage chance that something like that probably could happen in the WWE, and I'm going to say it's probably 60% possible somebody would do something like, Roman Reigns did become Razor Ramon at some point for a brief period.
The Giant became the Big Show.
You called someone the professor of thugonomics.
I didn't give him that name. That was the name he had.
Don't make eyeballs at me for saying Romaine.
The only thing that Roman Reigns and Razor Ramon have in common is that they have very wet, long hair. That's it.
Well, that's just wrestling. Yes, Romaine. Romaine is my other wrestler.
Razor Romaine. Is the name of this podcast now.
Follow-up question.
Is
it okay to say Razor Now I was going to say Romaine.
I've broken you.
You've broken me. Is he on the good list or the naughty list?
I mean, he's as naughty as just about anyone else from that era of wrestling. I will say Scott Hall is no longer with us now. He had a lot of problems, a number of which were self-inflicted. I would not call him a good guy, but I will say he was a person who, to some degree, tried to get his shit together late in life.
Okay.
How's Kevin Nash doing?
He seems okay, if a little depressed. He's had some hard times in recent years, but he, physically and, as far as his life is concerned, he seems like he's mostly in an okay place.
We need a wrestler scale. Who's the cleanest? Andre the Giant, I know he had a lot of problems, so maybe not.
Andre the Giant's problems were
say.
Alcoholism, and that's it. He had health problems, but he wasn't abusive. He didn't he didn't take his shit out on other people. He just drank too much.
People seem to have a lot of kind things to say about Andre the Giant.
Yeah, the number of people that Andre the Giant genuinely hated isn't that long, but Hulk Hogan's on it.
How about George the Animal Steel?
Far as I know, he was cool.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Funny how the big star always seems to it's kind of like Shatner, you know?
Mm-hmm. Hogan is a Shatner-esque piece of shit.
The guy who is the big figure is just it turns out, oh wait, no, he's not very well liked.
Yeah.
And then is it just Ultimate Warrior on the other end of the scale?
He's pretty far down the acceptable scale. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That was maybe my favorite part of that Memphis episode was finding. Don't tell me what Randy Savage's real last name is. It's on the tip of my tongue.
I'll tell you when you're ready.
Does it start with a P?
Yes.
Poffo? No.
Yes.
Poffo? Is that right? Randy
Yes.
Poffo? Yeah, like hearing like, oh, the Poffos were a big wrestling family in the Memphis scene, and then multiple sons, one of whom was Randy Poffo, and the second I saw young Randy Savage, I was like, holy shit.
His brother actually just passed away recently. His brother, who went by the Genius in WWE, Lanny Poffo, he just passed away.
That name.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, wrestling. All right.
It's not a format for normal people. It's not a medium that anyone with any degree of normalcy should enter.
Just a story in there about Randy Savage, young Randy Savage, getting into a knife fight in the middle of a late night diner standing on the table with somebody swiping at each other with knives, and then the police came and then they turned the police dog on him and put a bunch of big bite marks on his butt. Like the dog got him.
You will hear about other knife fights throughout that series, I think.
Yeah.
Don't bring a wrestler to a knife fight. How about Mankind? Mankind? Is he the one who wears the mask?
Yeah. Was that Mick Foley?
Yeah.
He seems like a person people like.
Yeah, I'd say the most problematic thing about him is that, like a lot of other wrestlers from that era, they can't fully detach themselves from Vince McMahon. But other than that, he is a pretty low-key, normal guy, especially for a guy who spent his entire life bleeding profusely in every possible way. Pretty okay and pretty like well-adjusted comparatively.
He was the guy with the sock puppet, right?
Yeah, well, as Mankind, yes.
As man, right.
Because he was also Cactus Jack. He was also Dude Love. He was a variety of things over the years.
Never a Romaine though.
Not to my knowledge.
All right, still room.
Maybe somewhere in his Japan run. I don't know.
Maybe. All right, that's WWE 2K23. Sounds like it is stable and ready to be field tested. Yeah.
So far,
ready.
I have not had any major issues with it, so that is a good sign.
All right, we're going to take a quick break here. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about the dark pictures in VR.
The dark pictures of the ring.
That's right. The dark pictures of the ring. All right, stick around, everybody. We'll be right back. This week's show is brought to you by Factor. Brad and Alex, Factor.
They're the food people.
That's right. They're the food people. They send you ready-to-eat meal kits. We had some Factor. I found it. Quite tasty.
Big old box of food right there in the mail.
Yeah.
Food and smoothies.
And then it's just kind of sitting there, and then you can put it in your toaster oven or your microwave and just eat them all up. Yum, yum, yum.
However you want to heat, Factor has thought of you.
Man, you could rhyme to eat right there.
Uh-huh.
All right. Anyways,
look, I don't rhyme on command, okay?
We're not here to write their marketing copy.
No, but I am here to read it. Chef-prepared meals delivered straight to your door, leaving you time and energy to tackle everything on your to-do list. They have calorie smart meals that are around 550 calories or fewer. With Factor, you can skip the trip. See, they're rhyming right there. Skip the trip to the grocery store. Skip the chopping, the prepping, the cleaning up. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are ready in just 2 minutes. So you take them out, heat them up, and enjoy them. They've got a bunch of different meals to fit what you're looking for. They've got keto, vegan and veggie, calorie smart, like I mentioned before, protein plus options on the menu each week. They're prepared by chefs and approved by dietitians, so each meal has all the ingredients you need to feel satisfied all day long. Not only is Factor cheaper than takeout, but meals are ready faster than restaurant delivery in just 2 minutes. That I'm going to say that's probably, if you can prepare your meal in 2 minutes, you're going to find that tough to beat. Put the time and money you save towards planning activities for when the weather warms up. You can head to factormeals.com/Nextlander50. That's Nextlander50. Use code Nextlander50 to get 50% off your first box. That's code Nextlander50 at factormeals.com/Nextlander50 to get 50% off your first box. Factor Meals, plural, .com/Nextlander50. Use code Nextlander50, get that 50% off. Thanks, Factor. And we are back as promised. We are back.
We would never lie to you.
No. I said we'd be right back. Some stuff maybe happened in between, or maybe it didn't. I don't know, but here we are right now. We are back.
This podcast is just going to the store for a pack of smokes. Don't worry. It'll be right back.
Yep.
That's
You definitely won't be talking about this in therapy several years later.
This podcast break has been going for 16 years.
Uh-huh.
I just went to go talk about Dark Pictures Switchback VR. Brad, tell me about the Dark Pictures Switchback VR.
I have played some of it.
Okay.
It's PlayStation VR 2 only for the moment, maybe permanently. I don't know. It's very similar to Until Dawn Rush of Blood, if you played that on PlayStation VR 1.
You saying it's some kind of roller coaster?
Yes, which is to say it is a literal in-game roller coaster in VR.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It is a literal shooting gallery. Mm-hmm. Like you are straight up in a car, going on a track, with guns in your hands, shooting at shit.
Okay.
It's that again. It's cool. You know, it's that again. It seems pretty well made so far. Dark Pictures dude is there. He hasn't said anything yet, but he is walking around. He's skulking around ominously off.
You just know he's going to say something menacing in British any minute now.
Yeah, or maybe not. I don't know if they actually got his voice or not for this. Like, it looks cool. I was like, oh, that first one was like kind of cool, but you know, you had to play it with PlayStation Moves, which nobody wants to do.
No.
Now I've got good controllers and it's a better console and a better headset. Like, let's do this. Like, it looks good, but not. It's like it's Unreal Engine logo's right there at the top, but it doesn't look mind blowing. I would say so far.
Yeah.
It's like it's fine, but not like super duper next gen VR experience, I guess is what I'm saying.
Sure.
Which makes me wonder, like, I wonder if this is actually a bigger subject for PSVR 2 now. Like, I have zero idea if this is happening or not, but like maybe this is coming to Quest at some point. As a, because you know the Quest 2 like has hardware in it. You know, you can play games on the headset without a PC. So like, I wonder if some VR games going forward, even if they're not on Quest originally, are going to be kind of like made with that in mind. You know what I mean? Like, this is going to have to run on like much smaller hardware eventually. So maybe we should like not go too hard with the assets. I'm super speculating here. I don't know.
Yeah.
It looks fine. It does not look bad, but it didn't like knock my socks off as far as what they're doing with it graphically.
It's not a massive showpiece for like what the visuals can do in that hardware.
Not really. They do make the very smart choice of putting flashlights on all of your guns. So everywhere you're aiming is just flashlight action constantly, which like a lot of it is dark, so that's good, but also flashlights are just fun in VR.
It's right there in the title, man. Dark pictures. It's not about these light pictures.
Yes.
Are they doing anything with the eye tracking? Or,
I've read about stuff like that. I haven't really seen any of that myself yet. I mean, it's right there at the top. Like, hey, do you want eye tracking on? So I've got it on. Mm-hmm. I haven't noticed anything happening yet. Like I've mentioned, the kind of showpiece feature I've read about or that they've promoted is like doing the when you blink and when you open your eyes again, shit will be closer to you in a creepy way.
Yes,
stuff like that. It's very cartoonish. And yet I have like yelled out 3 times just in the first couple levels because they just tend to spawn zombies like right on your car when you're not looking. Next thing you know, there's just like a hand reaching toward you from the side and you turn around and like, oh God.
You shoot it off or you just, that's part
of
the ride?
the hit reactions and the location damage is not very detailed.
Okay.
Like that's one of the things that makes it feel like not super duper advanced. Like you can kind of shoot heads off and that's about it. That I've seen at least. Otherwise, they seem to just kind of go down in a canned way, if that makes sense.
How about the other thing they were talking about that I remember and I think this was in the other one, like choices? Like, do you get track choices?
Yes. I've seen one of those that you had to make a certain choice, and then the next one I saw, like it seemed like you could go either way. So, and then there's a level select. So I assume that's intended to make you go back and see the other part of the level you didn't see. And there's high scores. Like there's it's weird. I don't remember if Rush of Blood was like this, but like everything in the environment that you can shoot that breaks gives you score.
Okay.
Like every random oil drum and crate and beer bottle lying around, if you shoot it, you get points.
Huh.
Which so you're just kind of encouraged, if you want the high score, to just shoot literally everything you see.
Is there unlimited ammo?
Yes. It's like fairly limited clips in the guns. You start with just handguns and you can shake them or hit a face button to reload. Those you burn ammo pretty quick that way. You'll find crates around. When you shoot a crate, you get a better gun, but those are limited ammo.
Okay.
So like you get like the shotgun seems to be literally one shot and it's gone. And then I've gotten Uzis as well. Machine pistols.
Is it like reach behind your back weapon switching?
No, you don't. I don't think you can switch. I think you just shoot through the special gun until it's out, and then it swaps you back to the pistol.
Oh, that's funny. That's like old school scrolling shooter or something like that.
Kinda, yeah. It's interesting because like I tend to go for when I see a special gun, I go for it on my main hand. But then I realize like, oh wait, I probably want to save this ammo, this good gun for like harder stuff. Right. And then I find myself like, oh well, now I'm shooting with my offhand with the unlimited ammo. So like that's maybe something to think about. Is like they frequently give you the good weapon twice, like right at the same time.
Okay.
So you just get two of them. Gosh, I don't know. It's cool. It's cool. It's cool. It's not.
It's cool.
It's good. It's cool.
It's not anything unexpected.
It's interesting to me that they have settled on this as their format for VR. Because while I think that it's understandable that you would want to make something that is, relatively easy for a person to navigate in that space, I don't think any of this is what anyone thinks of when they think of the Dark Pictures of Until Dawn. Like it really is more trade dress than anything else as far as like the gameplay is concerned. And I'm like, I kind of wish I could just do a horror movie in VR. Like, why can't we just do that?
Yeah, well, I would.
It's a lot of development resources. I realize that, but
yes, for sure. This is definitely much lower budget, I would assume, because it's one track. It's a pretty constrained experience. You obviously can't get out of the car and wander or anything.
Sure,
they are trying to tell a little bit of a story. You start out on what looks like a BART train, like underground, and that wrecks. And it seems like you might be like saving some of the people that were on the car with you.
Okay.
In like very creepy Saw like I came upon one of the dudes who was in the train with me at the end of a level, and he was like about to be drowned in a very unpleasant way. If I did not act fast enough,
right,
and solve a puzzle. There was like a little bit of a puzzle there that I had to solve with guns.
From what you can tell, are they referencing material from the Dark Pictures games?
Just that narrator dude walking around so far that I've seen.
Okay.
It seems like it's like fairly generic horror. Like this first level goes from like an outdoor market into like what's sort of like remember the wrecked tanker kind of thing from Resident Evil 7?
Sure.
It's like basically that. Like all in one level.
The first boat from the first Dark Pictures
it could be, actually. I don't know. I have not seen or played a lot of the Dark Pictures games.
Okay, because there is a big tanker or boat in the first one.
Okay, maybe some of these levels are actually inspired by the existing games. Then that's possible.
I wonder.
It's just a lot of sinister shit around everywhere.
Sure.
Like a lot of the breakables that give you more score all have glowing pentagrams on them. Okay. Because of course.
Of course.
Why not?
So like it's when it speeds up, when the car goes faster, that's definitely a frantic like I'm trying to pop every pentagram, every high score thing I can as I'm flying through here, and that's pretty fun and satisfying.
How's your stomach holding up there in the ride?
Not amazing.
Okay.
That was what, frankly, I was going to play one more level, and it kind of cut my time short with the thing, because it's nothing but stationary motion, which is exactly the thing I've had the most problems with in this particular headset with Kayak VR and Gran Turismo. Anything where you're like sitting down in something that's moving.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I got through the tutorial, and the levels are not super short, like half an hour, 20 minutes to 30.
Yeah, that's something.
And I was like, I'll play one more. And then I was like, maybe I won't. Definitely some headache, swimmy, hot, the whole thing.
Feeling it.
Yes, for sure.
$40 on the PlayStation 5?
$40, yeah. Yeah, right. It's fine. I'm going to play more of it. We will probably stream some of it.
Cool.
Some good jump scares in there. It's pretty effective at what they're doing, but what they're doing is fairly familiar so far. Again, there might be some cool eye tracking and other stuff like that later. I'm sure they save some of the cool new ideas for later on.
So it's pretty much a sit down game.
Oh yeah, They tell you right at the. Actually, yes, they tell you right at the start. Hey, this is best played sitting, but then immediately they're like, make sure there are no obstacles around you because you're going to be leaning and bending over a lot. And so I was running up to the edge of the play area constantly in this. You have to dodge. You have to dodge and lean, bend down to dodge obstacles. And also, like, you're extending your arms out to shoot stuff. And I was like having the grid pop up like kind of all over the place.
Right, because when I do that, like, hey, just make it because I'm sitting down grid, it's pretty
It's pretty small. It's pretty small. You will move around within the limits of the sitting area pretty significantly playing this from what I've seen. It's fine. Like you guys can see it on the stream. People can see if there's anything there of interest.
Yeah, I'm curious.
It is an on-rails shooting gallery at the end of the day.
I bought my PSVR 2, the extension cable for it, and so far it's been pretty good. I'll mention, since we were just talking about PSVR here, I played the some more Call of the Mountain now in quote-unquote room scale. I'm doing quotes because it's a pretty small room scale, but I was able to clear up an area in my living room. I do not like climbing while I'm standing up. Yeah. It gives me the I don't like this. My knees are... Even though it does have that thing you mentioned, Brad, which it feels like you're pulling the world down towards you instead of you climbing up. Looking down and stuff, or being able to walk to the edge of a cliff instead of just kind of move the character is very different for me. Like when you can walk yourself to the edge of a cliff and then kind of kneel down and look down, it feels very different, but it's cool.
So you're pretty much all sitting down for that then?
I was doing that, and then with the extension cable, I was able to just basically take my whole self to another room while the PS5 is in that where the play area. I basically walked into the living room and was like, okay, I can carve out whatever it is, 16 feet by 12 feet, whatever they want. I can carve this out by moving some chairs around and scooting stuff places. I played that in
scale now.
Room scale. I played that in Job Simulator. That hot new VR product, Job Simulator.
Of course.
Which was fun.
I've been meaning to check out Cosmonius High, the new game from that studio. Alchemy Labs that made Job Simulator and Vacation Simulator. I think Cosmonius is also like a year old on Quest or something like that, but all new to me.
I want to play that one with the closing your eyes. I forget what it's called. The game where the whole game mechanic is around it.
Before Your Eyes?
Before Your Eyes, yeah.
I also want to play that in that headset.
All right, that's the Dark Pictures Switchback VR, currently on the PlayStation VR 2 exclusively for $40. Next up, we're going to talk about a game that I was looking forward to called Life of Delta. Life of Delta. It is a point-and-click adventure game put out by Daedalus Publishing. I forget the developer on it, but Daedalus puts out a bunch of stuff. They had put out a bunch of stuff in the point-and-click adventure realm.
All you had to say was a point-and-click, and I knew it was going to be a mini game.
They're the ones. Daedalus are the folks that are still, I believe, putting out that Gollum game.
Yes, allegedly that is still coming out this year.
Yeah. Life of Delta is a pretty small point-and-click adventure game. It's $20. I'm going to say I hate doing like value for your money. The value is what you get out of it. But I'm going to say maybe that feels like a bit of an ask for what's in that game. I did finish it within 3 to 4 hours, maybe.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's pretty short.
Yeah. And, I think my playtime was 6 hours, but I think I had a little break in there. It depends how quickly you're making it through puzzles. The puzzles in it range from, not necessarily chicken and pulley style puzzles, but more like sliding block style puzzles. It's a lot of open this computer screen and now connect the pipes kind of things. Like instead of you're matching inventory most of the time. I'd say there's a split. Maybe it feels like 60-40 pipe connecting circuit puzzles versus, I need the right thing in my inventory. Some of the controls aren't so great all the time with the way the clicking and the pointing are going to main things you want in a point and click adventure game. But it's charming and it's got fun. There's fun to be had in it. It's not my favorite modern point and click.
I was hoping you were talking about Unix pipes in the puzzle solving. But
no.
Probably not.
Not those kind of pipes.
I was gonna say I started to say like that'd be cool if somebody made like a command line puzzle game, but I guess like that kind of exists.
Kind of exists. Like Zachtronics isn't quite there, but those remember Hacknet was
Hacknet was one of the ones I was thinking of. And HackMud also, I believe.
Ooh, is that from Hacknet people?
No.
Okay.
HackMud's crazy. We should talk about it later.
I should get into HackMud.
You should check out HackMud, perhaps.
I played this on the PC. I believe it is also out on some other platforms, maybe including the Switch. Like I said, $20 on the PC where I got it. It's about it's about a little robot who, this is probably maybe the strangest thing about it. The art is pretty nice in it, but the strangest thing about it is, it seems like you're in a world of robots that went to war with Bebop and Rocksteady. So these kind of anthropomorphized like rhinos and warthogs and maybe lizard folk that then subjugated the robots, and the humans are kind of out of the picture for the most part. And they're I'm not to give this story away, but they're basically decommissioning you, and the robot saves you, but then his door gets busted down and he gets captured by Bebop and Rocksteady style thugs, and you have to go on a mission to save Joe, this person, the robot person who saved you, and maybe uncover a bigger plot. But it is a little funky there, seeing Bebop and Rocksteady eating sushi. They're not called Bebop and Rocksteady, but
I was going to say, I bet not.
No, but
branding-wise, that would be challenging.
Yeah,
what are they called?
I don't know if they have names.
Okay.
Yeah. Joe is the name I saw. The robots have names. Guards. I like the art. The art's interesting. That's Life of Delta, currently available now. Point and click.
Every time you say that, I just think of Life of Pi for some reason. I think
Me too.
We've been talking about Ang Lee too much.
The follow-up or prequel, Life of Delta. Another game I checked out as I was kind of spinning around Steam looking to see what's out there is Spin Rhythm XD. This is a game that has been in early access for quite a bit.
I think since 2019 at least.
Yeah.
It is now 1.0.
What does the XD stand for?
Extra dimensional.
All right.
That's very buyable, what you just said.
It is a rhythm lane rhythm game. So it is a kind of in the style of notes are coming down a track, and you've got a mechanism to do certain things as the notes or icons hit your bar, right?
Yeah.
The kind of novel thing here is you've got this wheel that spins around. And I played it with a controller, and it's got two colors on it. It's very customizable, which I really appreciate. I think this is maybe, when I was looking into being like, dang, this is really customizable, and good on them. Maybe it's a product of them being in early access for a long time, where you can customize the colors of the notes to make sure if you have any color deficiencies or accessibility options, they seem to have them in there, which is awesome. So you have this wheel that has two colors on it, and at its most fundamental, you have notes coming down the lane that also have two different types of colors, and you want to match what's on the wheel to the color as it kind of accepts into the wheel as you ingest it. It quickly escalates from there.
Yeah.
This trailer is a lot.
It's a lot.
Like,
so
this is coming at you quickly. It has a really nice look to it. Also, this part where they're like, use real DJ MIDI gear to play this game.
Yeah, so you can use like turntables to control the wheel. I almost took out my DJ Hero controller to see if it would work with that. I don't know if it would. It did recognize some things I have hooked up to my computer as MIDI input devices, like DAWs and stuff like that. I don't know if I could use the knobs on them to control them. I guess I could. It played fun with the controller that I was using.
It's weird because when you see it in motion, it looks more like a traditional like 5-note highway kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
Like I didn't. It didn't leap out at first to me that like, oh wait, there are actually only two colors here. I'm just very used to the Guitar Hero Rock Band style of note highway.
Yes. It has the look and feel of the current spate of rhythm games that exist in arcades in Japan. Like, this is the kind of stuff that is very popular these days, like Tuna Rhythm and a few other things. What the hell is that game called? It was one of the ones that like Aurahack told me about at some point. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but like it feels like it's in the space that those games are, though this is not based on an arcade game or anything, as far as I can tell. No, but it is going for that. And I think in its description, it's like, hey, we're an arcade rhythm game. Like that's what we're going for. It's got These
a lot
are the
of music.
kinds of rhythm games I suck ass at, primarily, is the thing. My follow-up to that comment was going to be, if there isn't a big dumb plastic peripheral, I'm usually pretty fucking lost, unless it's Thumper. But that said, this game looks cool as shit. It's cool. There's a lot of tracks in it, or at least I
it's claimed to be a lot of tracks. The presentation is very nice. I think there's like 60 tracks in it. It's got a great onboarding. It starts you off whatever, basic or something, I forget, easy mode, and then kind of gives you a tutorial, and it adds in everything. Like if you switch the difficulty to normal, it'll be like, hey, you should run through the tutorial for normal. There's going to be stuff in here you need to know about. And it's like, okay, show me the 3 new things you're going to add. To the point where I was just doing that until I got up to like expert. I didn't even make it past there because it just got so intense. But it's cool. It's got a cool flow to it, and the music's pretty good. It's not, the tracks I listen to are I'm terrible with music genres, so please forgive me. Electronic?
Yes. I mean, if you were trying to paint with as broad a brush as you can to emphasize that there are bleeps and bloops in this music, yes, electronic is the way to phrase it.
I'm going highest level here, and I'm just going to say yes. Electronic. I don't know if it's any kind of dub and bass or anything like that,
right.
But
just cut the cord now, man. Just cut the ripcord, like hit the parachute, let's go.
But it's not like AC/DC. It's like, you know.
Is that really your? You said this like 3 times today when talking about this game. Is AC/DC your one reference point for everything that isn't electronica?
No, AC/DC is my reference point for like, is it Rock Band?
Okay,
yeah, like is it rock? Is it Guitar Hero? Like,
they're not even the most like frequently used band in those games.
So who is? Are there stats for that stuff? I never actually thought. Like, I wonder what the most played stuff is in those games.
I don't know about frequently played, but in terms of like the sheer volume of songs that are available. If you don't count the Beatles Rock Band, which is its own thing, it's probably either Metallica or Foo Fighters.
Yeah, okay. Sure.
So, okay, I should maybe...
And Green Day. Well, okay, so again, Metallica and Green Day got their own game, so that's not fair. Foo Fighters is the only one that doesn't have their own game that I'm going to say is extremely overrepresented. And I say that not as a hater. I don't hate Foo Fighters, but there are a ton of those fucking songs in those games.
Okay. AC/DC, my stand-in for 70s classic rock. Or like guitar
70s,
rock.
80s, yeah, totally, guitar rock.
I can't say classic rock anymore because that is so broken at this point. You know, like that's probably Foo Fighters at this point also. And I don't mean that. I mean you know what I mean when I say AC/DC.
You mean grandpa guitars.
Yeah.
I will say Anamanaguchi is the only thing I've heard of on this list. That's not a criticism of the game by any means.
What kind of music is that then? If you have heard of it,
yeah,
chiptune. Okay. Would that fall under electronic?
I mean, it is.
Sure, yeah.
They have live instruments when they play, but a lot of their stuff is very heavily rooted in specifically video game style chiptune synths.
I'll say this: I have really enjoyed the music in it. A lot of it has like a it's very driving. It's almost it almost sounds like some of it could be on a Hotline Miami soundtrack. It's got like a really strong driving beat to it.
Now you're speaking my language when it comes to electronic music. Hotline Miami 2 soundtrack? Fuck yes. Okay, I'm in.
I'll say some of the things they have listed here. Nitro Fun, nope. AU5, nope. Moe Shop or Mo Shop. I'm guessing Moe Shop.
I'm guessing.
Yeah. Hyper Potions and Camellia. Is that the one you mentioned, Brett? Oh, no, what was the one you said?
Anamanaguchi is the one.
Anamanaguchi, yep. Panda Eyes, Temenite, Anomaly.
Anomaly. I think Anomaly.
Just a picture of me shaking my head during all of these.
Tut Tut Child, Pegboard Nerds, Tristam, which I wonder if that's a Diablo
naming stuff's
reference.
hard.
Maxo, Tokyo Machine, Rogue, Tumelo. I know Tumelo.
Yeah, I know Tumelo.
And more. Tumelo, I want to say, did the later Alligator stuff. Anyway, I've really enjoyed the music.
Yeah.
And I've enjoyed the gameplay. Yeah. It's called...
You've made me want to play it.
You should try it out. 'Cause I know you have particular like thumper-esque rhythm stuff versus like music note lane, like this rhythm stuff.
Yeah, but, my note lane stuff tends to lean more toward like Guitar Hero and, prior to that, like frequency and amplitude. But this doesn't seem that far off from that stuff. It's just kind of its own version of that. It's
a Spin Rhythm XD available now. It is $20. I think we might try and show some of it off on a grab bag if the streaming gods allow it.
both visually and orally, because
yes.
like, goddamn, is any of that music going to like get stuff taken down?
It definitely will, and they have a pin post on their discussion thing about like, hey, I don't really think there's anything
use
we
it.
can
You
do.
might lose it.
Yeah, so we'll give it a try.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey. Steam Deck verified. I'll just say that.
Be still my stars and garters. I'm one of those guys now. I'm a Steam Deck guy.
You're a Steam Deck guy, so
I've been playing fucking hella Vampire Survivors on my couch. Let me tell you what. That's all right.
Sounds all right. That sounds all right. I could, if we're almost done, I could mention very quickly that I introduced a group of friends from back home that I play games with to Marauders.
Oh, how'd that go?
No.
It was fun because one of them is a hardcore Tarkov player, and the other two I don't think had ever played an extraction shooter before.
Okay.
What did your Tarkov friend say?
So the Tarkov friend was way into it, but also was like, "Yeah, this is like arcade Tarkov."
Like baby Tarkov?
Oh,
not
fuck
baby,
off.
not baby, but like streamlined.
You are
like,
but a little child.
No, like faster
Okay.
rounds, like less dead downtime, that kind of thing, just in and out type stuff. Of the other two, I think it took some time. I think there was a bit of an undercurrent of like, wait, what the fuck is this? Why are we playing this? Who wants to? We died in the airlock on one round.
Like before you entered the ship?
We literally could not have left the airlock if we wanted to. Like the fucking second the doors open, and I think it was one person who killed all four of us.
Oh my god.
I think they were high level. I'm
what a
pretty sure.
world!
But, like it was fucking crazy. Like the doors to the airlock opened so we could board the station, and like somebody died immediately. I think it was my friend who was not. He warmed up to it by the end. I don't think he was loving it at that point. And also, he had brought a lot of his gear in that you start with. And like literally, I mean, I probably like 3 seconds after that door opened, fucking headshot, he was dead.
It's
and then the rest of us are all pinned down behind boxes, like not even leaving our ship, and none of us made it out of there alive.
I can't remember the res mechanic. If
there is
one?
none.
There is none.
There is none. You die, you were fucking out.
Okay.
I know. My one criticism, I don't know if it's intentional or it's early access and they just haven't gotten it added yet. There's zero kind of spectate when you die.
Right. It takes you back to your character screen, right?
So my friend who plays a lot of Tarkov, like unsurprisingly, usually the last guy standing was streaming to Discord, so the rest of us could watch him finish out a round when we were all dead. Because otherwise, you just sit at the menu. You just sit at the character. I mean, you can like fiddle with your inventory and stuff, but that's about it.
So, did your Tarkov friend feel like a lot of the skills and playtime he put into that transferred over here? Like pretty.
I think so. Yeah.
I always wonder about some of that stuff. I mean, it's not the same game, but it's got similar mechanics from what I hear. I mean,
I don't know what like the sort of gunplay is like in that game, or firing model, or the way the guns work and stuff. But Marauders is like kind of World War II guns for people who don't know.
Yeah, in space.
Yes, I think.
You guys go again?
By the end of it, there have already been some group chat messages of like, so when are we marauding this week? So I think a hurdle was overcome by the end of it.
Okay.
Of boy, that sucked, but like, oh, hang on, there's definitely something here.
Did your team ever get lost in a ship or anything?
Yes, it was nothing but a fucking 2 hours of just a giant comedy of errors. Like one round after we didn't have trying to think. I don't know if any of us extracted successfully the entire time.
Okay.
But there was a whole lot of just goofy shit of. I don't know.
Fun to be had.
Yes. We had a really good round, had a ton of stuff, had not made note of our airlock when we entered the map, and all died of running out of air.
That's such a bummer.
We got greedy.
It's the way of things.
It's a game like I want I don't know, like more AI or something. I don't know. It's a game I love the pieces of it, but it's so punishing.
It's a lot. I mean, to their credit, they immediately, because you don't get name cards in that game. You can't tell who's who. Can't even tell who's AI and not. Like my friends immediately clued into the like, oh, let's spend 5,000 in-game bucks on the orange jumpsuit so we at least are all the same color.
Okay, yeah.
And then like 2 rounds after that, like there's a moment where a fifth person in an orange jumpsuit somehow got mixed into the group, and we didn't realize it.
Wait, they were just like, rolling around with you?
I don't know if it was an AI. We never figured out what was going on, but a whole lot of people just started shooting each other all at once as soon as we realized somebody else who was not us was there.
Oh, man.
I appreciate the trolly nature of that game. I don't think it's fun at all, but I really respect the fact that it is so geared toward just absolutely making you miserable.
It is lunacy, man. I haven't laughed that hard in a while at a video game.
I don't really want to say punishing, but it is unforgiving, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you mess up, like you forgot to look what airlock you come in, it is unforgiving in a way that's like kind of cool. I think I'm with you on that part, Brad, where it's like, if you're not talking to your teammates and somebody rolls up on you, or your teammate turns a corner and you're like, is that you? And like, that's kind of on, it feels like when we played, and a little bit I played on my own, you can ameliorate some of that by just being aware, right?
It's like nice use of ameliorate.
It's my favorite wrestler.
Ameliorate.
Yeah, ameliorate. Like you kind of soften it if you are looking at the airlock, if you're calling out, but all it takes is one mistake and your whole thing is doomed.
Your whole day is ruined.
It's some shit. The last round, I boarded another ship and killed a motherfucker.
Nice.
Because they had taken our ship out. We were dead in the water.
And used the escape pod?
We were dead in the water, and I was like, well, fuck this. I just jumped into the thing and rammed their ship and got in there and killed one of them. Almost got the second one.
Oh, they got you in the end?
Yeah. Okay. Yes, but I don't think we're quite there yet, but I want to introduce the possibility of trying to steal someone's ship.
Hell yeah.
The next time we see somebody who is not in the starting ship, I think I am going to say, hey, let's go try to take that ship.
Can you extract with it and keep that ship?
Yes, you absolutely can. It straight up says in the, get a new ship interface, it straight up says, buy or steal a better ship to replace the default.
See, then you're going to be a target, too. Somebody's going to want that ship. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
It's four-player max?
Yes.
Okay. On that note, I will say I played a little bit of Barotrauma, I guess is how you would say it, which is 16 players max on a space submarine. It's basically FTL, but super dark and disturbing. I haven't even made it through all the tutorial stuff yet because there's different classes in it. And it seems really cool, and we should play it. I don't know if we need that many people to have an efficient sub, because you can switch between AI characters if you want, but it's goofy looking, but kind of neat.
That's cool.
And you're kind of somebody's piloting with sonar as you're going through, and there are other players out there, and repairing damage and space horror going on. I haven't played enough of it to really commentate on it, aside from it seemed neat.
Oh yeah, there's just straight up giant space squid monsters in here.
Yeah, it seems cool.
Interesting. Real quick, I was looking at Introversion Software on Steam last night. You remember them? Makers of Uplink.
Yeah.
And Darwinia.
What is it? I remember Uplink. I didn't play much Darwinia.
Their new game is, I think it's called The Last Starship, also appears to be an FTL-esque sort of spaceship manager. The reason I was looking at them, just to bring it all full circle, they made that game DEF CON Everybody Dies.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I know that game.
And that game is patterned after the nuclear war simulator in War Games. And when you mentioned War Games in WWE, I was looking at DEF CON last night.
There you go.
Because I think about DEF CON now and then.
That game was all right.
Because it's nothing but a very sterile and slowly paced view into the end of the world.
The only way to win is not to play.
Yes. I excuse me. I went back and read Ryan's review of it at GameSpot, and it was quite good because he basically said he threw out that exact line, but he was like, "This game seems to be positing that if you do get into nuclear war, it might be possible to lose less."
Okay, fair enough. I'll end here on a just a demo note here. I booted up that Resident Evil 4. I think they're calling it the Chainsaw demo. I think that's their label for it. that game comes out very, very soon.
Yeah, I've been avoiding that demo because the game's almost out, and I just want to go in fresh.
Yeah, so it's pretty short. I think they even might truncate the beginning a bit. I hope the game doesn't start like they started it, but you kind of get a little bit of intro, and then it's basically Leon S. Kennedy out there walking to his first village encounter, and then it ends with a bunch of not zombies and the chainsaw guy kind of basically killing you.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Chainsaw guy and the bell ringing.
Yeah, so I don't even think I got the bell ringing. It's just a chainsaw and a swarm of what are they? They have a name? The Plagas zombies? Ganados. Okay.
I believe, wasn't it?
I think that's correct.
The Plagas are the parasites, I think, that infect them.
So I ran it on the PC because I wanted to kind of check out how this 4080 would run it and see what's up. Man, is it the RE engine?
Yeah, the RE engine is what most of Capcom's new games are on.
I think they do the best job at showing and illustrating what video card options on the PC will turn on and off, and keeping track of the RAM on your computer. Like it is awesome. It's like, hey, you go through these options, it's going to kind of estimate how much video RAM you're going to take up while showing your maximum allotment, and say like, okay, yeah, you're getting into the danger zone if you want to turn this on. Here's a picture of what this will do.
I played some of the RE2 remake on PC, and I was going to say they do like a straight up video, or not a video, but little preview window of.
Yep.
Here's kind of an idea of what this specific effect does when you turn it on.
Yep, they do it for the options of like low, medium, high, and ultra, of like, here's what it looks like at ultra. Like, oh, I don't even notice a difference. I might just turn this one down. It looks pretty good. There is a, it's got ray tracing in it, but I don't know to the extent the ray tracing is in this engine, if it is full on retracing all the rays, or if they're just doing it in specific spots. But it looked very good. A lot of options there on the PC. It plays just fine. Well, in fact, it made me excited.
Does it just feel like the shooting from the RE2 and 3 remakes, or is there something fundamentally different there? Because I mean, like RE4 originally is very different from a modern third-person shooter.
So, Leon's got more melee stuff. I don't remember if in RE2 if they brought that in, where if you stagger with a headshot, you could do the finisher melee stuff.
I think so.
Was that in there? Yeah, I'm having a hard time remembering it. And when it happened, I was like, oh, right, yeah. Oh, was this in the other ones? So it's a little faster, it seems like, because you're that game in general is faster, right? The zombies are, I will call them zombies. The zombies are kind of swarming you much more than I feel like in 2, where they're shambling at you. Mm-hmm. So you're popping off headshots, and then basically I was running up to do a roundhouse kick to sweep the rest of the zombies back, because ammo. I love it.
You need it.
A lot more knife stuff. He's got the knife is just ready to go. But it I don't know. I can't remember 2 now, even though I really liked it. It just felt a lot more visceral and fast-paced, running around, running in a door, turning behind you, and quickly firing off because everybody's running at you.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely can say original 4 has melee options that remake 2 does not, in terms of like that roundhouse and stuff.
Yeah. So they never brought that back into 2.
No, they definitely didn't do stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah, you can do finishers when they're on the ground. Okay. Like you can stab them in the head. It feels great. Like I want to get in there. I want to play more of it. That's not part of this demo, but it ran well on that 4080. I know that it should probably run well on that 4080, and it does. I had everything up as far as it could go on, and I've got the I always forget how to series this chip, but the Ryzen 5 5000, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, and the 4080 paired to get everything turned on. I didn't hit anything where I had a million explosions, but there were a lot of zombies out there. Mm-hmm. So we'll see how it runs when it comes out in like a week and a half.
Yeah, it's out next week. I'm very looking forward to playing that.
Me too.
Yeah. It seems cool. There is an option in there, and maybe we'll show this off during a grab bag, for strands of hair that I was able to turn on.
A number of strands of hair?
When you turn it on, it looks like individually rendered strands versus kind of a hair texture.
Okay.
And At least that's what I saw. That's one of those ones you have to turn on back at the menu.
This is the really advanced shit.
Yeah, the not truss effect.
Clearly, they're really using that follicle accelerator on the 4080.
When will they apply this technology to Triple H?
Listen, is there a PC version of WWE 2K23?
There is.
Okay, maybe it's in there. That's Resident Evil 4, the demo. It's a short demo, or at least my time through it was short. I'm sure you could find ways to make it last longer. But seems neat. Excited to play it. I wasn't as excited until I got this thing booted up, and I was like, man, this looks and plays really well. I want to get in there. But then I hit a typewriter and was like, oh, right, yeah. Are they going to do this? It was disabled in the demo, so I don't know if they're still doing ribbon and typewriters for this, or if they will just forego that and say, just save your game.
I don't think they did ribbons in the original, right? Wasn't it just type? It was like you can only save at typewriters, but there's no ribbons.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm hoping that that's what's in here. I assume that information is probably out there somewhere. That's going to do it for the games. The games. There's stuff coming out here. There's a plate filling up, and
Yes.
I've got more stuff coming in at the end of March that I'm excited for. So looking forward to it. I still really want to play that Dredge game. I hope that game is good. And that's at the end of the month. All right, we're going to take another break here, and we're going to jump into the news. Kind of light news, but we're going to cover it, and we'll be back in a little bit. This week's show is brought to you by Mint Mobile. Alex and Brad. Cell phones, you know I love them.
Telephones.
Telephones. There's one thing I love. It's telephones and talking on the telephone. But you know what I don't like? Spending a lot of money to do it, especially on my mobile phone. If you're like me and don't want to spend a ton of money on your phone, Mint Mobile is offering their unlimited plan for 50% off. It says here, as the first company to sell premium wireless service online only, Mint Mobile lets you order from home and save a ton with phone plans starting at just $15 a month. But, of course there's a catch. Of course. You gotta hurry because this deal is gonna end January 15th. That's about the same time you gotta stop saying Happy New Year to people as well. Just gonna add that in. Mint Mobile is kicking off the year with their best offer ever before January 15th. Buy any 3-month plan and get 3 more months free, even on their unlimited plan. By going online only and eliminating the traditional costs of retail, Mint Mobile passes significant savings on to you. All plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and switch easily in minutes with eSIM. Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. Now here's the call to action. Buy any 3-month Mint Mobile plan and get 3 more months free by going to mintmobile.com/Nextlander. That's mintmobile.com/Nextlander. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Nextlander. Hurry! Offer ends January 15th. Thanks, Mint Mobile. We are back, and it is time to go through the news. Not too much to go through in the news here, for better or worse.
Quiet week.
Yeah, nice quiet week, generally. But the stuff we pulled here, we do have a few stories. And Brad, you want to kick us off with a couple of stories about delays?
Yeah, the System Shock remake is not coming out this month. That has been pushed to May.
Okay.
Which was a bit of a question.
Yeah, I'll update. I'll go back and retroactively update the Planorama.
Because we were wondering when we would play that, because that looks worth playing. Also, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League has been delayed out of May into the second half of the year. There was some more going around that last showing was not received super well online by fans. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if, yes.
I don't know that the second half of this year is enough time for them to get at the things that people were complaining about, because the things people were complaining about were the things they complained about with Avengers and with Gotham Knights. It's, hey, we dumped 1 million gears and stats on you and have fun.
Yeah, you don't rip out fundamental design and redo it in 3 months.
No, and I think that the Nebula second half thing says to me they are going to take a long, hard look at this thing, and we'll see where it ends up. But I have a feeling they aren't going to be able to fix what it is that people were actually complaining about.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, who knows if it's good or bad. But I don't think, it's definitely too late to change things majorly. Delayed into May, delayed out of May, delay May.
Delay May.
Delay May doesn't have quite the same ring as Meltdown May.
No, it does not.
May
anyway.
Be delayed.
Anyway.
That's Suicide Squad and that System Shock remake. Pushed a little bit.
Console?
System Shock?
Yeah, is that getting console release?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I'm not sure it's been announced.
Let's see what the old database says here.
Yes, it is coming to consoles.
Okay.
I'm going to hit refresh here and see if the Internet Games Database has picked up the new date. Let's see. No. Still got March. All right. Brad Shoemaker. We have covered Microsoft aplenty. This not everything is related to the merger or the pending or the possible merger acquisition of Activision Blizzard, but this maybe not directly, though very much indirectly. What is this Microsoft? What's Microsoft wheeling and dealing now?
Well, they're out there making deals left and right still to say to regulators, hey, look, we'll work with everybody who's willing to work with us.
On a for a contractually obligated amount of time.
I mean, God, there's all kinds of stuff going on. I mean, that Activision executive just straight up went on Twitter last week and started tweeting about things Jim Ryan said in a meeting.
Is it that one lady
who
seems like a real asshole?
Yes.
Okay.
But she did really just go out there and be like, he was just in a meeting. He was like, whatever. This was not what I planned to come in here and talk about. He was just like, I don't want a deal. I want to stop your merger. Anyway, the actual story here is one of the deals that they have made with a streaming service is with the streaming service Ubitus, I guess is how you say this.
Okay.
Which is a Japanese company that has facilitated a bunch of these streaming releases on the Switch. You know how different third parties have been putting out some of their multi-platform games on the Switch via streaming? Control, Resident Evil Village, Guardians of the Galaxy, stuff like that has been coming to the Switch in a streaming form. That's the company that has been facilitating those releases. And so, big question mark. Could Xbox games start appearing on the Switch in a form such as that? Who can say?
Who can say?
Who can say?
Or are all of these deals just a bunch of, grease to keep the gears moving? How serious are they?
The gears. I get you.
How serious?
The gears moving.
How serious are they actually about this stuff? I don't know. I mean, obviously, you know what they really want, but
I think we all know what they really want,
which is Call of Duty.
Yeah,
what they really, really want.
Yeah, I don't know, but who knows? I think we just talked about it not long ago that 4 or 5 years. God, it's probably been 5 years now. Those rumors were flying for 3-4 months about Game Pass coming to Switch.
Mm-hmm.
And then it ended up not happening, but clearly Microsoft has had desire to get their games on every platform they can, and maybe some of those games start showing up on the Switch like this.
Yeah, but more than the Minecraft franchise.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, Minecraft's still its own kind of cottage industry.
Has anything else come out there? Like any from the Bethesda branches of Microsoft or on the Switch? Has there been?
Oh, you mean other Microsoft-owned products?
Yeah, that are
Switch?
not Microsoft, not Halo, not Gears of War, any other.
I can't think of
because they scooped up so many companies. I wonder if anything else has migrated that way
to the Switch specifically.
Yeah,
I can't think of anything besides Minecraft.
Okay.
I guess Legends.
You could kind of count that GoldenEye thing, though that is its own weird ball of worms.
That's its own weird thing because nobody seems to know for sure, but Nintendo probably still retains some rights there.
Right.
Minecraft Legends is coming to the Switch.
There you go.
Which is not a proper Minecraft game, although it looks very cool.
Yeah.
That's like the hack and slash game, right?
Well, it's kind of seems more strategy than that. Based on the last time they showed it, it's much more. There might be like a straight up hack and slash action component to it, but you're also straight up building buildings, like in a kind of action RTS sort of way.
Okay,
that thing seems kind of like it might be awesome. Like they were talking about, like you're sieging the other team's base, and you can just straight up build like forward towers right outside their base to spawn units into it constantly and stuff. It sounds like fun.
I'm really curious, like what the overlap on the Minecraft crowd versus just bringing new people in who are like, it's wrapped in Minecraft, but it's a different type of game, because I don't know if my kids are going to want to go in on this, especially if it's a lot of online. I'll have to see when it comes out. But I guess to my question, Redfall probably not coming to the Switch anytime soon.
No.
Okay.
Definitely not.
I would hazard to guess not.
But maybe for the next 10 years,
Unless they get their xCloud stuff up on the Switch sometime soon.
Yeah.
Which, the way things are going, who knows? Anything's possible.
This is kind of, this has happened. We reported on some of this stuff previously where they had talked with Nintendo, but then they had also talked with NVIDIA's, what do they call their streaming stuff?
GeForce Now is the online cloud streaming. Yeah, they made a deal with them, making deals everywhere.
Making deals. And like you said, Brad, they're kind of, seems like posturing to say, like, look at all these things in place. Of course we're not going to keep Call of Duty here. Don't be silly.
Come now.
I barely pay attention. There's so much of this stuff at this point. I barely pay attention to it. Like there's something out there recently about Jim Ryan suggesting that they could intentionally ship buggy Call of Duty on PlayStation Now.
Oh, just like in Tomorrow Never Dies, the phone call, and it's
the Call of Duty is full of bugs. Excellent,
delicious.
Fucking Bobby Kotick just tending his fingers. Delicious,
delicious.
Man, speaking of that car scene from Tomorrow Never Dies. I was like about to cross the street this morning, and a driverless car just crossed the four-way stop right in front of me.
Whoa, no kidding, for real?
Like, unless there was a Pierce Brosnan-esque person crouching in the back seat with a smartphone driving that thing, there was nobody in that car.
That's creepy, but it had a steering wheel, I assume, right?
It was just 100% a car. It was a Waymo car. It was one of the little spinny thing on top cars. Not just a regular car, but still, there was nobody in. I mean, those things are going around mapping. I forget what kind of data those things are collecting exactly, but yeah, I mean, it's not just a passenger car, obviously, because there's nobody in it. But
wait,
but even my understanding,
San Francisco proper?
Yes, my understanding is that the Waymo cars still had a human being in them just in case.
Right.
I did not see anyone in that car.
Maybe it's gone rogue like Johnny Five. Maybe it's like out there.
Definitely neither of the front seats were occupied. Unless, again, maybe somebody was leaning down.
Somebody's taking a nap in the back seat because they're just like, I got to sit in this car for 8 hours.
Maybe some Waymo employee has realized that, yes, they can just snooze on company time when they should be minding the robot driving the car.
Dang, man, I have not seen that.
It
That's
was like
not
something out of
here.
something out of a Verhoeven movie or something. It was just like it's fucking. It was just a matter of course, I just took it in stride that of course a car without a person in it is crossing the intersection right in front of me.
Definitely nothing fucking horrific about that.
Also, like when it pulled up to the stop sign, it waited a little extra long to the point that I was like, what are they doing over there? And there's too much glare to see at that point that there was nobody in there. So like it sat at the stop sign for at least 5 seconds without moving, and I was like, should I go? And I started to walk, and then it started crossing. And only then
as you started to walk?
I didn't like step out off of the curb.
Oh.
I was like just about to start moving when it started crossing the street, and I was like, well, okay then. And then only then did I see nobody was in it.
I think, man, if I saw that, I'd probably stand in front of it to see what the heck it would do for a while. Like just stand there. You think at some point somebody comes on like a speaker that's like, please move out of the way. Come on, just please move. We're watching. We can see you there. Yes. No. Please move. Like, what is or is it AI car just wait there indefinitely, forever? Could you sit on the hood? Like,
I don't know, man.
Well,
you see this shit about GPT-4 getting rolled out?
Yeah.
And like they're doing like. I mean, it's good that they're doing this testing. Also, I feel like they get a little too science fiction with some of the stuff of like, oh, we've got to make sure it's not going to murder the human race. But
I feel like everything I've read from the I forget the lab, the GPT-4 lab, the brain trust that's there are like, guys, this isn't AI. This is a language model.
Yeah,
like
it's not.
Like
it's not.
they're pretty like relax.
Yes. But I mean,
say that.
they are testing it and putting guardrails in place or whatever. But one of the tasks they gave the new one was, can this thing successfully TaskRabbit a human being with a task and have them complete it successfully?
Oh, that's dark,
And
man.
Not only did it do that, what it was doing was trying to get someone through TaskRabbit to solve like captchas for it.
This is them testing it out.
I hope that I'm not like...
This is them trying to...
I should...
It's a fun story.
Well, there's
even
more
if it's
to
not
it.
True. Oh, okay.
I should follow up on this to make sure this actually happened. The way it was put was that the person questioned, why can't you just do it yourself? And it made up a lie to justify what it was asking for. It said, "Oh, I'm vision impaired and can't do it myself," is what it came up with.
It's like what it's going to be like a TaskRabbit to be like, listen, I need you to just go to this apartment and grab this universal power supply and plug the computer into it, and then just move my computer. I need you to move my computer to this other house, and just set me down. I mean, set the computer down wherever is good in this other house. But just, I'm not home, and I need to do this. We're in the dark zone.
We've been in the dark zone, man.
I like that more people are just calling them predictive language models and stuff than AI.
Yes.
I feel like AI kind of became HD-ified at some point.
AI
where
is
everything was
snappier,
AI.
I get it, but...
Yeah. I like that. It seems to have caught on enough where people are like, let's call it what it is and not... Let's
be real
AI
about
a
this.
little bit more. Yeah. All right. From AI to IO. EIAIO. Brad, what's going on with what's going on with IO? When's my next Hitman?
Not for a while.
Oh.
Sorry, that tab got closed. Give me a second.
Sure, I'll say this while you bring up that tab. When I was reading this story that you sent over, Brad, I had forgotten IO was in the fantasy RPG game.
Yeah,
now.
that was a thing that I was reminded of in looking at this for sure.
Wait, they are?
Yes, they announced an online fantasy RPG is what they're referring to it as. Project Fantasy.
Welcome
Is James
to
Bond in it?
No, they also have Project 007.
It's part of their third pillar. And their Hitman
when
Bond.
When was that? I think it was not that long ago. I think it was like a month or two ago, right?
This story said a month ago. I had zero memory.
That totally
of it.
sailed over my head.
We might have missed it, honestly. I'm not sure. But I mean, it's nebulous enough. There's not much to say. Like they're making a new IP that is an online fantasy RPG, and that's basically all they've said.
Mm.
A world and a game built from the core to entertain players and expand for many years to come. So a live service game, you mean?
Mm-hmm. Hey, listen, I'm curious what it is.
Yes. Anyway, they have said, IO has basically said, like, the next Hitman is on hiatus, or a new Hitman is on hiatus, which, to be frank, is more than I expected.
Honestly, I thought they had already said that.
Well, I had kind of worried that maybe they were done with Hitman, the way that they're expanding and taking on licensed stuff, and, like, they've been fairly open about the financial needs of running a studio this big. I just kind of had worried, like, Hitman's awesome and very popular, but maybe it's still too niche to actually support what they're trying to do. So
well, where do you go?
Yeah, well, they also talked about, they kind of said, like, hey, like at some point it would be kind of amazing to go back, though, with everything we learned from years of doing that game and start fresh with a new sandbox,
Yeah. I thought that was a cool quote of like, hey, we've been doing this for a while. What if we just start from that point on the next game?
Yes. Anyway, like to hear that they're even thinking about the next Hitman game is exciting, because I had worried they were just kind of pivoting in a different direction. Also, they're opening a fourth studio in Istanbul as of today.
Yeah.
And that announcement included, like, I read the press release in my inbox this morning. Our team in Istanbul will play a significant role in our ambitious productions, Project 007, Project Fantasy, and Hitman.
Yeah.
So
Hitman's still on the docket. Yeah.
Like, Freelancer is just so awesome and seems to have tickled so many people's fancy
Mm-hmm.
that it makes me wonder, like, maybe there's a world where Freelancer did better than they expected, and then maybe they actually do go back and add more to that game.
And that world is a world of assassination.
Yes. I don't know, whatever. I don't think we'll ever get another map for that particular version of Hitman. But who knows?
If they're accepting map pitches, however, I have some ideas.
Go on.
Yes.
Mexico City, Lucha Libre match.
Okay. What's going on around the side here? Because, like the Miami one, you need the central event, but you need some other stuff going on.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, there's definitely some like shady shit going on in the background. One of the targets would definitely be one of the wrestlers in the ring.
Okay.
And you would have to disguise yourself as one of the other masked wrestlers and go fight him in the ring. And there would be something going on where you would have to find a way to kill him in the ring. I just like the idea of walking through like a giant arena while there's a bunch of like, it would be like the Paris map. The fashion show is going on. Yeah. There's the crowd. There's the backstage. There's all that stuff. Like that was my idea.
And then there's some like GoldenEye space laser style thing also.
Oh, there's definitely
happening.
Like some evil promoter that is tied in with the evil organization, and there's like bad dark deals are happening backstage. Yeah,
or like an underground base that is doing some real weird off. Like,
they're growing Bane in the basement.
Yes, there you go. Yes, and one of the assassinate. Oh, there you go. And then one of the things you could do is unleash the Bane monster to fight in the ring against that wrestler.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, there it is. Okay, yeah, he storms the ring, and everybody thinks it's a big wrestler, but really it just rips him in half. Okay,
look, I've got wrestling on the brain today. Okay, this is where I went.
Hey, we got there.
Here's my dream Hitman map. E3.
Oh man,
that's pretty good.
They should. Man. I mean, it would have to be fake E3 with a bunch of fake consoles and fake games. Although there's plenty of fun to be had coming up with fake consoles and fake games.
Oh yeah,
but what if they just made E3 as a Hitman map?
Think of all the incidental nerd murder.
I think I would want a giant sci-fi space station with a lot of airlock stuff. Or undersea. Okay. Anything like, where you can flood or just, space somebody.
Just doing your Moonraker in Hitman?
Yes.
Oh, God. I'm just imagining him, like, puttering out of a fucking undersea base in, like, the Steve Zissou sub at the end. Out. Yes.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
A big boat. A place where you are trapped on, like, a giant cruise ship or something.
Like a carnival cruise where just everybody's overboard?
That's a spot.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Same thing. He just kind of putters away on like a little jet ski at the end.
A cruise would have been great.
Cruise, I could see it.
Yeah,
I could see it. I'm sure. I would almost guarantee that these are all on index cards or whiteboard or something.
I don't think I'm inventing things no one involved in Hitman has never thought of before here. But come on.
Yeah. What if you got like a dreamscape style thing, like Psychonauts, where it's just
you're inside the mind of whoever it is you need to kill.
Agent 47, the dream killer.
And in my fantasy E3 map, they need to play fast and loose with city layout so that the standard can be like down the block from the convention center. Because you need to also be able to go into Hitman's version of the standard.
Agreed.
I'm just imagining all of the like incidental shitty backroom dialogue that would be there.
That they would write for that fucking place.
What happened? They said they hated it. Well, that fucking outlet sucks anyway. Cross them off a list.
Oh, God, you have to impersonate a games journalist in one of the story missions. You have to sit through E3 demos and fucking, like Agent 47 is like, so tell me about the multiplayer.
Well, we have...
How many maps are you including?
But also, they would be mixing up like out-of-town games media people with like LA scene trash that's hanging around the pool,
You could eliminate a target by like a VR developer and like put the wrong thing in the VR, like load up the wrong program that kind of makes their brain explode. These
are all great ideas.
Yep. So they have Kensha Hall is back clearly in this vision where there's all like weird peripherals.
More like killed you, Hall.
You can like make some dumb peripheral explode or like
there's a rig and roll machine you can murder someone with.
All right. Let's do it. Fan maps.
Yep.
I think that's the news. I mean, that news was IO basically expanding. Hello, Istanbul. And basically saying they're putting Hitman on hiatus, but also saying they're expanding avenues.
That all but guarantees there will be a Turkish bathhouse level whenever they get back to Hitman, right?
It could be that they make nothing for Hitman for a very long time. But,
yeah, it feels that way, but
hope springs eternal.
At least they're saying stuff about it.
Right.
Is there a date on 007? Project
No.
007?
No. They haven't shown anything for that yet.
Okay. So curious.
How can you not be?
I have to wonder is if it's tied somehow into, it has to be whoever's going to be the next Bond, right? Like, how can it not be?
I mean, the thing is, they still haven't decided that, and also, like, there hasn't been much talk about what the next movie is going to be. So, I mean, I almost wonder if this thing is living completely free of those kinds of requirements.
It's possible, but then also, I mean, how do you handle that? You know, like, do you make the character look like one of the previous actors? Do you just do your own Bond design? I guess that's valid.
Yeah.
If they wanted to make it kind of like closer to the literary roots.
Just feed all the current Bonds into an AI, and eventually you'll get a British guy.
Sure.
I just wonder if I haven't looked up too much of this stuff. That information's out there. Forgive me, but I wonder if they get this license because of Hitman and stuff, but then they can't do any of the fun Hitman stuff in it because of the license. I hope it's not saying it has to be Hitman just skinned for 007, but
it's going to be the gadgets without the slapstick, I think.
You think?
I mean, there is some slapstick in Bond stuff. It's just that it's always with a veneer of cool and detachment, which is not really Hitman's flavor.
Yeah, like Bond doesn't always rely on the, like, I'm undercover, like we saw in Tomorrow Never Dies, where he's just like, I'm what was he?
James Bond. I'm a banker. James Bond.
Yeah. I'm a banker. What's your name? Bond. James Bond. I guess that is, you know what? That's the most 47 thing I guess you could do in a movie is just be like, I guess he's a banker. I don't know. He said his name's Bond.
Less disguises, I'm guessing, though.
Yeah. All right. That's kind of the news. Delays, the Microsoft stuff, the IO news, some other smaller things out there, but I think that's going to do it for our news section here. We also have an email address, podcast@nextlander.com. That is podcast@nextlander.com, where you can send your emails and we can read them on the air. Podcast@nextlander.com. Brad Shoemaker, what is in the email bag?
I'm going to read one email.
One email. Who is the lucky emailer?
I'm going to make it count.
Mm-hmm.
That's from Andreas in Denmark, who worked on Figment 2 Creed Valley.
Oh, a game we played during the grab bag last week.
Yes, who wrote in to say that it was cool watching us play a game that they were a developer on, but also to say this, yes, the Black Hog's voice actor is a Norwegian singer in a Tom Waits cover band.
Nailed it. Great.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Just need to confirm that.
That's pretty funny. I kind of want to play more of that game. To mostly see where it goes.
It's really interesting. I will say that.
I want to see what happens to that relationship. What is it? You're going to put this on me? I'm working here for you so you guys can have nice things. Click. What a weird game. With Figment 2, Creed Valley. That's podcast@nextlander.com.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to wrap up our show. Before we get into the many thanks out there, I want to remind folks that we currently are in the back third half, I'd say, at least, because we did a double feature at the beginning, of the Michelle Yeoh Watchcast. We have Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. You may have heard of it. That's coming up on the Patreon on Monday, and then that will be followed by everything, everywhere, all of them, all at once.
Academy Award winning Everything
right.
Everywhere all at once.
All at once. So you can come join us for that the following week over on the Patreon side of things. That's patreon.com/Nextlander. Again, the Watchcast, where we watch the movies beforehand and then talk about them together. So we're not watching the movies while we're chatting together. Not necessarily.
It's a conversation.
It's a conversation
Postscript.
about the movie. And congratulations to the entire cast and crew who I think won an award for everything. So we talked about the Oscars somewhere else. Ramblecast?
Probably the Ramblecast would be my guess.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. And we've got Never Been a Better Podcast with Austin Walker and Jeff Bakalar currently up over on the Patreon side of things. You can check that out. Always fun. Never been a better podcast, so I've heard. Find out about how Jeff Bakalar has discovered he's really an amazing drummer. He never knew.
I'm still not convinced.
Is it the air drumming?
But we'll see.
You think so? You can check that out. Of course, we've got the Ramblecast. The Panorama from last week is up there. We mentioned it at the top of the show. There's a lot of casts out there, and you can catch them all if you're ready for the challenge over at patreon.com/Nextlander.
Are you ready to take the podcast challenge?
12 hours of podcast this week. You can do that over at patreon.com/Nextlander, where you can find a tier that is right for you. Look at all the goodies there. And thanks for helping us out, of course, as always. There is one tier there that gets their names read on this year's show, and I'm going to read them today. I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm going to do them all in one breath.
Get in there.
You think I can do it?
One breath. You can do it.
You think I can do it?
I think you can do it.
All right, here we go. One breath. Ready? Here we go. RRE, John Richardson, Vornak, Kelly F., James Smith, Brian Lucier, Skywarp, John Hubbard, Sean Miller, Brad's Midsize Hoodoo Voodoo, Evan Cook, Mark Wilhelm. I made it about halfway.
Okay, you got pretty good.
JM, Jerry Lee, Gary Pejke, Robert Fisher, John McInnes, Octothorpe Bunny Crimes, Peter Reardon, Thomas Lynn, Jad Rita, Statics, Andrew Jackson, Razgriz 2, Brian Murphy, Trevor and Adrian R, Randy Duax, Andrew Tiebkin, Alex Wu, It Me JP, Matt Clements Jr., Edward Chick, Andrew Slosky, Steve Lynn, Matthew Herrig, David Campos, and Tyler Treese. Those are our mysterious benefactors for this week. So many thanks I couldn't fit it into one breath.
Now you're going to make me try and do this all in one breath next time. I'm going to fucking micro machines my way through that shit.
So you got to, so that means everybody out there, go sign up as a mysterious benefactor.
Wait.
Yes?
Is John Machida on Cameo?
Oh my gosh.
He didn't pass away.
He passed away?
No, he is actually, we thought he had passed away, but he has not.
Okay.
Yes, you're right. He is still alive. Is he on Cameo?
Uh-oh.
If he is,
yes.
If he is?
Yes.
He's on Cameo?
$75.
What if we got him to read the names?
Oh my gosh. That'd be pretty cool.
Okay, let me try first, and then I will front the $75 to see if he can do it.
Listen, they still need to be recognizable names. You can't go too far. John Machida is going to hold you to a very high standard here.
John Machida is a seasoned veteran, but he is an elderly man. Please don't make him work harder than he has to.
Yeah, fair.
You think everybody makes him say stuff very fast? And it's just like, you can, whatever speed you want, man.
What else would you ask him to do? You want him to talk normal?
Yeah, why not?
Says he's done over 600 commercials, 1,000 talk shows. Man,
yeah, he was out there.
I should have learned to talk fast.
Thanks everybody for helping us out over on the Patreon side of things. Couldn't do it without you. And thanks on the YouTube side, Twitch side, listening side to all these podcasts. Is it a podcast if nobody's tuning in? That's just a conversation. Couldn't do it without you. You make it a podcast, everybody. Like I said, we got all that stuff going on. This Thursday, we got a grab bag. You might be able to see some of that VR Dark Pictures Switchback. Is that what it's called? Switchback.
Yes.
I think we're going to try and show some of that spin rhythm if we don't get pulled down or DMCA'd or something. So check that stuff out on Thursday. On Friday, we got some plans in the works. We're coming down to the wire here. Hopefully they come through. We allowed to say what we're planning there, Brad? Or
the Diablo 4 beta is out.
Yeah.
Assuming we get access as planned, I think we'll probably take a look at that.
Yeah, that'd be neat. I want to check that out and see what's going on there. And then, of course, on Monday we have our Hitman business. Alex Navarro goes on a hell of a tear through the Hitman universe.
The greed got me as always.
It is a hell of a run. He could have gone forever. Find out what happens over on our Hitman Freelancer. I know what happens. You can check all that out. Thanks everybody for joining us. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Brad. We will be back with more from the Nextlander podcast next week.